everyone.
Caleb, welcome back.
Hello. It's good that you're here. We have a guest tonight. It's a good friend of ours. His name's St. Clair.
What's up?
And he's going to tell us all about the virtue of selfishness.
I'm not giving a lecture. This is a discussion. This is a tabletop.
Well, I didn't read the book, so you're going to have to tell me something about it.
I'm pretty sure that reading the book was admission to this podcast, so get out, sir.
No, I started this podcast.
Actually, Austin started this podcast. And
Where's Austin?
He's never been here
He's
once.
never showed up.
Yeah,
You think he's listening to it?
He said he did. Austin, are you really listening?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below.
He won't text you back.
All right, has anybody got anything, though, that they want to start with?
Let's do this first and then transition into...
Whatever rambling
Yeah,
topic
whatever.
we
Yeah.
settle on.
No,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Does anybody want to start on something here with the book?
Yeah. So, I think it was St. Clair wanted to read it.
What?
Was it not your idea?
It was a suggestion.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
pin
great.
this on me.
It was great. It was a good suggestion.
It was a good
It's not like
suggestion.
it's a bad idea. You should take credit for it.
Take it.
And Ayn Rand is a polarizing topic. I'm not taking credit for it. I might also add in a disclaimer to anybody that listens to this.
Go ahead.
Nobody here is an Ayn Rand acolyte. We all admit that she was human and had flaws. We're just reading the book.
No, she's God. I'm just kidding.
I think it was H.L. Mencken that said it's the mark of an educated mind to entertain a topic you disagree with.
I like that.
So,
So you disagree with
entertain
this
Ayn
topic?
Rand. I do disagree with her.
About this book?
Yes and no.
Well, it covers a lot of things. Like, I
It
mean,
does cover
obviously,
a lot of things.
you know, with my anarchist tendencies, I don't really agree
That's-
with one of the
That's right,
chapters
you
in
went
there.
in on
I was
me,
going to
didn't
ask you about that. What did you think about her going hard
I think
against Anarchy?
I think before we do that, so we read Ayn Rand, The Virtue of Selfishness, and I think we have to kind of somewhat give an overview of it.
Yeah.
Before we get into like specific chapters on it. I think probably the first thing is to define terms a little bit, because she, that's how she started out, was like selfishness. When people hear that word, they think something else because we've turned it into something it's not.
Right.
And as I told you earlier, Daniel, I am not sure I fully comprehended the first chapter, so St. Clair is going to have to explain to us what...
You guys should have totally... I don't remember the first chapter. I just make highlights. I don't remember any of this.
Okay, can you define for us what you meant by selfish?
Alright, 1, read the book.
I did,
2,
but these people didn't.
Alright,
Look,
fine.
And
Alright, so...
Caleb
Hey,
didn't.
I read the first chapter. I listened to it.
Alright, so to any of the listeners out there, if
Yeah.
you really want to understand what she meant by selfish, and as far as defining the difference between enlightened selfishness and selfishness, then you need to read Nietzsche's book of Genealogy of Morals, because she's dealing with that. I can't... You guys put rules on me, so I can't go into all the details, but there was a particular group of people that Nietzsche claimed inverted all morality based upon a slave and master morality. The slaves could obtain these things, so they based their morality on what they could obtain. The masters, the rulers, were able to attain certain things, so they based their morality on that. And so she delineates or defines the difference between selfishness and enlightened selfishness, because she's claiming, as far as I understand, that our common interpretation of the word selfishness is based off entirely of this hijacking of, oh, well, if you can have fast cars, nice houses, big bank accounts, purchase brand new products or whatever, that you're selfish. And so
Yeah.
she's trying to define the difference between that and enlightened selfishness, because there's a difference between the guy that, and she says it in the book, there's a difference between the guy that robs the bank and purchases those things versus the dude that gets a job, works overtime, does the best that he can, and then purchases those things. They both obtain the same ends, but they did it through
Different means.
different means.
Yeah.
But
And
society views them as the same kind
That's
of immoral.
right.
That's what she said, yeah.
Due to altruism.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think she goes to a great degree to try to define enlightened selfishness, because selfishness has, everybody throws that at everybody. Oh, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
Your wife throws it at you. If you're a woman listening, your husband throws it at you anytime you try to do something for yourself.
My whole life, I've been told I was selfish,
Yeah.
and maybe it's the wrong kind, but I don't know.
Well,
See, I think that's why she goes into it.
yeah, and I think what she was saying in there is like our society tends, at least in part in that chapter, was our society intends whenever they're trying to determine the morality of an action, they're simply looking at, are you doing it for selfish reasons?
Yeah.
They're not judging the action itself, but rather, are you doing it for yourself? If so, then it's immoral. Are you doing it for someone else? If so, then it must be some kind of a moral good to be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. But there's plenty I'm not sure how to do this podcast and things, so you guys just got to deal with me.
We're just talking. Yeah, it's all good.
It's flowing.
So what's always been crazy to me is that people want to choose these terms and then almost like not the placebo effect, confirmation bias. You believe something and then you just find the evidence for believing that and ignore everything else.
Yeah.
So we want to look at I'm going to pick on it, sorry Jason, but Christianity, and we want to view anything that we do for somebody else as unselfish. But there's plenty of examples of where you go to charitable means and that person doesn't screw you over, but takes your charitable means and then screws somebody else over down the line.
Yeah. It's weird because I thought about that when I was reading this, and I haven't read John Piper since I've been critically reading things. So when I first read him, I was just assuming, everything was right that he was saying or whatever. But he says when Atlas Shrugged turned whatever it was, 50, 75, whatever it was, he wrote a huge article about it. And he was like, he said back when he was a freshman in college, he read everything she wrote, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, at one moment I'd want to stand up and cheer. Another moment I'd want to throw the book across the room because of like his Christian values or whatever. But then he introduced the idea of Christian hedonism. So, I don't know how much... Obviously, there are some things that they differ on because they have different premises, but I don't know how much John Piper would disagree with what's in here. Because when she is defining, and saying it in the context of religion, defining selfishness and altruism, it's not the same Christianity that John Piper's talking about. Now, I don't know if John Piper's talking about... Because I haven't read him critically, I don't know if what he's saying is really matching up with what the Bible's saying. I don't know, but...
Or if he's a secret Randian and just using Christianity to cover it up.
Well, the thing he's most famous for is Desiring God. And the premise of that book is that we were made to worship God, and so we should be seeking our joy above everything else, and the only way that we can find that is in... serving, glorifying, loving God or whatever. So, his reasoning for what he's talking about, Christianity, I guess, is
kind of the same principle.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. It's what you're going to enjoy the most, so that's what you should do.
But the difference
now, I don't know.
She's talking about sustaining your own life.
Yeah.
Is the most important thing.
Nothing beyond this.
Nothing beyond the sustaining.
But that's
your
the
own
different
life.
premises I'm talking about.
Right.
Though, because he believes, he's starting with the premise there is an eternal God, there is a judgment coming. So, what you're doing, you need to do to sustain that. It's the same thing. It's the same logic with different beginning premises, it seems like to
one's
me.
banking on an afterlife, one is it's not there.
Yeah. Right. I don't know, but I thought that when I was reading this, I wonder, and John Piper may be exactly biblical in all he's saying, but I wonder if he was, or if Rand influenced him a lot and he merged the two together.
I'm going to go hard and just say that Piper doesn't have a set of balls. He read Rand. It resonated with him. He saw the truth and the validity in it, but he wasn't willing to make the ultimate gamble of, I don't want to bet that there's nothing after, just in case there is a creator that damns me forever.
So what's that Pascal's wager? You think he did that?
One of those wagers. Yeah. I can't. There's 4 options. I don't remember.
Where's
our Jamie?
I thought Pascal's wager, I think, is the thing well, if I don't believe Christianity and I die, I go to hell. But if I do believe it, it's not true. I haven't lost anything.
Right. So just live a moral life and believe it regardless.
That's a big book, and I don't think that's the there's a lot of scripture in it.
Like I said, I just said I was going to go on a limb there.
Yeah.
I still just think he doesn't have a set of balls.
mean, well, Caleb, what do you think?
No comment.
Oh, all right. So look, we can take her concepts and gravitate towards a general consensus so that you can commentate on this. All right. So one of the biggest questions I think that you have to answer when dealing with her stuff is, do you actually ever make sacrifices? And if you do make sacrifices, what actually is a sacrifice?
That's a good one, because that changed the way I look at sacrifice completely.
Yeah, not. There was
her definition
examples
of it.
in there, and you're like, whoa.
Wow.
Have
Yeah.
I ever made any?
Right. And should you? I don't think you should.
Trade a lesser value for
Trade
a greater value.
Trade a greater value for a lesser value, or something that has no value at all. That's what a sacrifice is.
So for those of you that hadn't read this, Caleb, she defines sacrifice, and she's like, if you've got something of greater value and you trade it for lesser value, that's a sacrifice. If you have something of lesser value and trade it for greater value, that's not sacrifice. That's just trading up, or whatever, however she says it. But it's essentially
she gives an example.
Gaining something.
She gives an example, and I've read a lot of her stuff, and until I came across this example or this explanation, I was like, man, I don't think I've ever actually thought about a sacrifice that way. It's not okay, I've got a high profile job on the line, but my mother needs taking care of. I choose to take care of my mother. Versus, I've got a high profile job on the line and I want to take care of my mother. I'm going to turn down that high profile job and take care of my mother and live in bitterness and anger and hate towards her for the rest of my life. Yeah. One of them is, oh man, I really want this job, but at the end of the day, I value taking care of my mother
more than the job.
I might not be the happiest person in the world, but I'm not going into it with just, when is this bitch going to die?
Right.
Versus the other one is you're harboring all these secret feelings of resentment of, I'm doing this out of sense of duty and I hate every minute of it. I want to get out of here.
Right. Because in your hierarchy of values, your mother is actually lower than that job is. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, take the job.
Yeah. But see, I've read some of her stuff and I was like, I don't know if she's ever explained it that clearly or if it was just now clicking. But that kind of changed my idea of sacrifice. Because before I was like, well, anytime I do something I don't necessarily want to do right off the bat, that's a sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice.
Not really.
No, because you're doing it so that tomorrow is better.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, it's not a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Then what is that called?
Be a slave to your highest ideals. Jonathan Edwards.
Thank you for the answer.
I'm just messing with you because that's a Christian thing,
That's where he did a lot of the John Piper stuff before Piper did it.
And he didn't have balls.
I feel like he knows for a fact that he doesn't have balls. He's been down there. He's seen.
We already started on this. Next time I come down here and be a guest.
But yeah, that definitely fascinated me because I never looked at it that way. I thought, well, you have to make sacrifices all the time. That's part of life. But if you're actually making a real sacrifice, you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
You make too many of them, you're gone.
Yep.
So,
but what if you literally die and you sacrifice yourself to save someone else?
It's because you held them at a higher standard than your own life. Is that a sacrifice? No.
Okay.
Well, that's what she says. Well, it depends on who it is. Like, if it's somebody you don't value that much, and I think that's what she would say. If you're doing it for an altruistic reason or whatever, like if it's just like I think I should do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do it for some random person. She would call that a sacrifice. But
and that you shouldn't do.
But if I love someone and don't want to live without them and step in front of a bullet for them, then it's not really a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Addressing Caleb's example, though, I think that's a good example of. So there's no philosophical thinking in a split second decision like that. Like in a split second decision like that, you're going to know what your higher value is because you're going to turn tail and be a coward, aka a coward. Not saying you are a coward,
right?
Or you're going to step in front of that bullet or on a grenade or go to war or whatever immediately,
right?
Like that. I think that's a good telltale of what your ultimate value is. Like there's people that I wouldn't even hesitate. Yeah. And there's people that I'd probably not even move.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd just be like,
sorry.
Nah.
Bad luck, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's probably a good example. I mean, because I'm not laying my life down for everybody.
No, and you shouldn't. It's not your place to do that. Why would you do that?
And I don't remember.
You don't owe them anything.
Because society tells me even the weakest are to be valued.
But that's what she's saying. The problem is,
Yeah, well, I've never believed that.
Well, I think she had a good
Me neither.
example.
Unfortunately. I might be nicer.
I think she had a good example with that where she was talking about, I don't remember the exact scenario, but it was basically like if you lay down your life for your wife who you love, as opposed to just a random woman, that was...
Empty your bank account because you're sick, etc.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
If I'm a woman and my husband doesn't empty my bank account, I know I never meant anything.
I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the gist of this whole thing is your life is the most important thing to you.
Yeah.
And you should be doing things that further your life, your survival. If you're doing anything that's not doing that, you're doing the wrong thing. Because it's the only thing that matters. You're born... And because life is the end goal. Like that's
and
it.
Wouldn't a positive side effect of acting that way also help the people around you and in your life greatly?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're bettering yourself constantly and you're doing things to make your life better, I feel like that there are going to be repercussions of positivity that affect the people in your life.
Well, yes,
and I think that's great. Like I think if everyone was doing that, then it would obviously be a lot better. But that's never going to happen.
Right, because everyone feels like they have to help people they don't even know because that's what society tells everyone is the right thing to do. And she's questioning that.
Well, I think we're afraid, like, to your point, like, before you can help someone, like, you gotta obviously be at a level equal to or above them. And whatever, like, if I'm trying to teach somebody guitar, I obviously have to be better at guitar than they are, otherwise I can't teach them anything.
Sure.
Or whatever it is. But I think, like, the importance of stuff like her book, etc., is the term has been hijacked. Like, you say selfishness, and without understanding of what she says, I think Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
Immediately. Just blindly engaging in whatever I want, cheating on your significant other, like lying to people on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he lied to people on the phone, they were just stupid. But kind of taking advantage of people's ignorance.
Right.
And so there's such big icons, especially in America. Oh my gosh, anybody in a corporation running a business is a bad guy.
Right.
They are selfish. Because they got the most beautiful wife, the nicest cars, the nicest house.
But the possibility could be
a sweet product.
Exactly. That he worked his ass off and earned those things.
And I might be using that product and damning his existence at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
In the case of Jordan Belfort from the Wolf of Wall Street, though, he was a criminal. He was fucking people over.
Right, and
Was
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
I knew Jason was going to bite. I knew it!
You think...
Okay,
what
we'll
was he
say
doing
in the eyes of the law, he was breaking a lot of rules.
But what if the law is...
and
what if the law is slanted?
I completely agree with that. Listen to the last podcast.
I did
But what I mean though is like he was breaking laws and got arrested, so him being branded as selfish in a negative context kind of makes sense. But there are a lot of people who are put in that same category who didn't do anything wrong.
I think he falls into the category of this book as like the guy that's just a hedonist. Like there was no forethought. He was not reasoning what's best for me. He was like, oh, I want a hooker.
Yeah.
I want Quaaludes.
Yeah.
I want, $10 million in this new car and to throw a midget at a Target or whatever. Yeah, like, I mean, that's all, it was just all momentary desire. He was not...
Whims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, whims.
As she says 1,000 times in this book.
Yeah, like the whole ethics is based off of whims and not reason. And that they've just accepted that. That was kind of mind-blowing to me. Like, wait, really? Like they just base ethics off of whim and not reason?
Yes, well that's postmodernism. What I have to talk about every time we do a podcast is that like that logic and reason is not sufficient to teach you how to do anything. It's insufficient. So the only thing you have then is emotion and a power struggle. And even though this was written a long time ago, like there was the stuff that she was arguing about or arguing against, and a lot of it was postmodernism.
Yeah.
Which it's been developing for a long time. So it makes sense. But
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Indeed.
You didn't read it. I'm
You're
sorry,
right.
I just
He
had
listened to the
I
first
just had to answer
He
that
listened to
one
the
more
first
time.
chapter. Get off
Listened to
him.
the first chapter.
I
40 minutes on YouTube.
I read the introduction,
Okay.
and then I listened to it again,
I just
and the
knew
first
it.
chapter.
I just knew it. I'm so disappointed.
It's all right.
She talked a
Daniel
lot-
told me, you're going to have to read the books. I said, I don't have to read a fucking thing.
Who said this? Daniel?
He told me that, and that's what I said to him.
I started this podcast. I run it.
I don't have to read a goddamn thing.
Right now I'm trying to decide whether I'm being selfish or unselfish and tolerating you in this room.
That's fine.
She went into some stuff about government that I didn't know if I agreed with or not. Just that we need one.
Let me ask.
I didn't
let me
like
ask
that.
a question.
All right, I
let
knew
me
this was
ask.
going
Let
topic,
me.
especially with this
Let me.
anarchist over
Let
here.
me. That guy's an anarchist too, Caleb.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
And this
Yes.
guy's on the fence.
All I didn't know that.
Down with the government.
Oh, that is true. You did say that. I can't ever define your position exactly because, like, it's just, is it now?
Isn't
I
that
like to make people defend their opinions.
Yeah. So my question would be, like, because she clearly, this wasn't in this chapter, but she was talking about, like, the use of force and how it's only okay to use force to defend yourself against somebody who has also used force.
Yeah. So
How can you run a government without force, without the initiation of force? Because I know, and not just this chapter, I've read, there was another, she has a book on capitalism. It may be the same freaking essay that I read, and it talks about, like, the proper role of government and stuff. And, like, I know that she thinks it's basically just, like, borders and common defense and that kind of thing. But how do you make that happen without an involuntary tax?
government?
Yeah. I mean, if it's not an involuntary tax and it's something you can opt out of, that's a club or a security team. Like if everybody on this road decided, hey, we're going to voluntarily all contribute X number of dollars and we're going to hire a security guard. He's going to patrol, protect us all. If somebody breaks in, he's the one that's going to run in, whatever. If we do that and we're all voluntarily doing it, and at any time I can just back out and he won't protect me anymore, like, that's not a government. So how do you run a government?
But why wouldn't he still protect you?
Because I'm not paying him anymore.
Yeah, but all your other neighbors are.
Yeah, but
And they're paying him to protect the whole street.
If he decided to
yeah,
protect,
I
it
can
would
back
be
out.
up
I
to
can
him.
say, sir, if you come on my property, I'll shoot you. I'm not giving you another
Well, you can
dollar.
back out, not just from not paying, but you can back out and say, I don't want your protection.
Yes, that's right.
That's what you're saying.
Yes,
you do.
yeah. If I opt out of that agreement, I can do that. Can I opt out of taxes and stop using the military and the police?
No, sir, you cannot.
No, that's a government. So what happens if I say I'm not paying this tax anymore? What's the next thing that will happen?
Forced by the government.
Well, yes, it'll be a letter. It'll be 2 letters. Then it'll be a judgment. Then it'll be a lien. And then it will eventually be a guy with a gun at my front door saying, you're coming with me into this cage.
Yes.
So how do you run a government without initiating the use of force? Because how do you fund it? I'm open to
Well,
any
didn't
and all.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, buddy.
Well, I just thought she was saying stuff about, like, it should be a voluntary tax, but we're not there yet. The way that things are now, it can't be done that way.
Well, that's
But
what
that's
I'm
the
saying.
only way a government can
Well, that's
work
what I'm
properly.
saying. Like if it's not a yes, exactly.
But she said even in the book that some people may not want that, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't cover them.
That's a good
all,
point.
right? Like some people may not pay, but that doesn't mean they're not covered. And it could be. And I think she said something based on like how much income they made and how much the value is. So.
That sounds like a progressive tax system.
No, hold on. But no. So what she was saying was like, if you're a large corporation, it's more valuable to you to pay to make sure that you get the protection that you need. It also overflows onto people who don't want to pay or don't care to pay because it's not as beneficial to them.
I get it.
But it doesn't mean that money that they're putting out doesn't overflow onto the other people.
That's right.
That's what she was talking about, I think.
So let's go back to my street analogy then, okay, right?
Yeah.
So Jason says, nope, not paying anymore. And that guy's still driving around protecting everybody. And then Greg next door says, well, shit, Jason ain't paying anymore. I'm not going to pay anymore. And then what's to keep everybody from not paying? Like, that's a snowball effect. Why would you keep doing it?
Well, if everyone decided they didn't want to pay, then it wasn't worth it to them to have the protection in the first place. It's going to be valuable to someone enough to continue to pay.
Because if he quits paying but still gets the protection,
yes.
and then someone else notices, hey, he's getting free protection.
Right.
I'm
but everyone on the street is not the same.
It's happening.
You can look at the trailer down the road versus the giant house right over
That's
here.
That's right, but the giant house guy get his own guy to sit his ass in his yard the entire time and screw the trailer down the road.
Maybe, but what I'm saying is, it's like what she's...
Jason, look around. What do you got in food, man?
What she was saying is that it would overflow. Some people wouldn't care. They don't want to pay. It doesn't benefit them. But some benefits from the people who do pay will overflow onto those people who decide not
that
to.
may be true. But
it's the same thing you've talked about with Anarchy. You've said before with Anarchy that if Walmart wants people to come to their fucking business, they'll pay somebody to pave the road to get to their business, which will benefit me because my house sits on the same road on the way to Walmart. So I have a paved road in front of my house. I didn't pay a dime for it, but Walmart did because they want people to buy shit from them.
I understand, and this is all like, but that was my point. Like, what she's saying about the government there is kind of in abstractions. Like, so when you practically work this out, I don't understand who today in this country would pay taxes if it wasn't for the IRS.
Most of your common people wouldn't.
Yeah,
but I think your corporations would.
They don't pay taxes now.
Well, they would if they stopped making us do it.
Why?
Because that's the most ridiculous
it would benefit them.
That has been said on this podcast.
But I don't think that's a good example.
The main problem with the U.S. government is the taxes we pay don't benefit anyone because they waste it all.
You can't use would we pay taxes right now as a good example because the government doesn't benefit really any of us except the lower class.
Okay, so that's fine.
I've never drawn welfare. I've never drawn benefits, so I have no.
But that's not
even
benefiting the lower class.
Defined as nothing more than legally protect as a source where I can legally mediate somebody using aggressiveness or violence against me, then sure, I'll pay for it like I paid for an Amazon Prime membership.
So yeah, I got that. Yes, but like that's a voluntary thing. What I'm saying is that if you, St. Clair, are sitting in your house and you're like, I'm gonna pay for this.
Yep.
Like this security guard to be here. Why would you tell him, hey, but go down the road to this other guy here that isn't paying and has voluntarily opted out? I know you're protecting my house, but if you got a spare minute, just go check on him.
Okay, so I think you're overcomplicating it. So let's assume your worst case scenario where one person pays for it, one person doesn't, one person pays for it, one person doesn't. All right, so one person has legal defense in courts because they paid for it, the other person doesn't. All right, and that person protects his domain like it's like it exists like an island, and he has no ticket, he has no benefits as far as going to courts and trying to mediate this or get a judge to solve it. He's literally an island unto himself. His existence will be entirely protecting himself from violence.
No, because it happens now. I mean, like, I think voluntary groups will show up to where people do this together. But I don't think that is feasible for a government, especially on that big of a scale.
Okay, so a government by choice and a government not by choice, it's still both government. One you just have an option of getting out of.
Yes, and that's my point.
So there still will be a government. It's just like, I mean, for example, if you join a neighborhood that's HOAs, you accept the HOAs.
Accepted it. That's right.
Okay,
that's right. But if somebody knocks on my door here where I don't have HOAs and says,
"Hey, make it conditional." Take one. I mean, this is all abstraction. So take one state that's completely anarchy, and take one state that's, hey, if you move within the boundaries of this, it's voluntary taxation to the point where you've got legal defense.
And
then they can move back and forth.
But that is what I mean by anarchy. I don't mean no rules. I mean voluntary.
Yeah, I think anarchy's misunderstood a lot of times.
Kind of like selfishness.
Misdefined.
And sacrifice.
She might have changed her argument if you looked at her and said, I define anarchy as no rules. Respond.
Well, I don't see it as no rules. I see it as voluntarily accepting rules and structure that you want to. The thing that I can't
which is
get past,
kind of what she talked about as being
Yeah,
government.
I think you're splitting hairs. Like, okay, so
but I don't know how that
she's
practically works. Is I guess I know, but we've kind of went around.
It's so
I'm
weird.
saying
It's
I don't
like
know how,
your version of anarchy is her version of government.
Yeah, she's in the 50s. Consider the time context. She's in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when anarchy is the hippies running around burning stuff, screaming "No rules, no rules, no rules." She's obviously trying to define somewhere a middle ground in between there.
yes, but I'm asking. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm getting caught up on the word government, but
I think you are too, because okay, so
It's a terrible.
so
word.
I don't know.
one of the cornerstones of modern civilization is specialization. If everybody had to be a medic and a farmer and a mechanic, we wouldn't have anything.
No,
We're gonna have
because
farm
nobody would be good
specialization.
enough to
All right,
do
right.
all
So
of
you've
it.
got 10,000 people in your community. You want them ideally as specialized as possible in the different fields that they want to go into. At some point, it's not going to be worth my time to drive down to the local warehouse and pick up my products that are shipped to me. I'm going to pay a UPS driver. I'm going to pay some person within the community that, for whatever it's worth, quote unquote, is considered above reproach to mediate concerns that may happen. It's going to resolve into a voluntary government. And from there, you're fucked.
But
End of
UPS
story.
is
Power has been created, you're
private
fucked 100 years from
company.
now.
Okay,
Fucking pissing all of your anarchy dream there.
That's something.
it's
I've
not
always,
a dream. It's just morality. I don't think it's going to be a utopia.
Right.
I just think I can't get around the non-aggression principle. Like any government that involuntarily taxes people, that's theft, and I don't know how to get around that.
You
But
do
if
know
we're
how to
ta-
get around that. You're just not willing to make the sacrifice. Give up your house, give up your lucrative career, make under $12,000 a year. And then you're out of involuntary tax. They don't pay anything.
No, yeah, but yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm coming at you right now.
Well, you can come at me if you want to, but I'm not
harping
going
on this, and I don't. All right, so
I did not bring this chapter up.
Oh, can you not hear me? I'm sorry.
I don't know. You're just kind of far away from that thing.
All right, so. All right. To me, what you're saying and what you're harping on is no different than people going to the polls every 4 years hoping for a change. Okay, so we're dealing in abstraction, but at the same time, this woman dealt in reality. Like she was never under the conviction that a utopia would be created. She was just making these arguments to get the point across.
I'm not either.
Right, politicians deal in lies, writers deal in lies, but writers deal in lies to tell the truth. Politicians deal in lies to get power. Okay. Like, I don't think that she was ever convinced that this was going to actually happen. It was more so to get the point across.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I'm not
there is a way
convinced
to get around
anarchy
the
is going to
involuntary
happen.
tax. Start a cult. Get it to Scientology
I-
level.
listen to the
file a
first
claim with the
podcast.
government. I'm pretty sure I just pulled that from there. I'm just too drunk to remember
I
right now.
advocated for a cult.
Okay?
Very
I'm
true.
just saying there are ways to get around the involuntary tax.
Yes, I agree, but I'm just saying.
I think, like the problem is that why the fuck should we have to get around it when it's immoral in the first place?
Why do I have to wake up and get a job
I mean, like, sure, but it's just
or make a living?
But that's not immoral for you to make a living because your life is the most important thing to you, and having a job is something that sustains your life.
You have to make that living to sustain your life, and then someone else says, I'm going to take a part of that living that you worked hard for and earned, regardless of if you want me to or not. That's immoral.
Okay, all right, so...
And the fact that you would have to do things to dodge that and to get around it and break laws that are ridiculous anyway, but that would end you up in jail just to not have to do that is fucked up.
Okay, all right, so... I'm on the tail end here, so let me redefine this, because we're going to segue into one thing that I think that she got completely wrong, and we're kind of talking about it already, but we can kind of talk about it a little bit more.
Cool.
Why not just deal with the government as a constant? Why not just accept it that there's going to be involuntary tax, there's going to be laws that work against you, there's going to be laws that work for you, instead of spending... Like, this is one of the areas that I think she made. So to all the listeners out there that think we're Randians, we're not, because we're about to talk about something. She made her entire living and eventually founded her own little mini cult community circle that eventually went south because she was fixated on this. The government can change, the government can change, the government can change, the government can change. You can change the government and put it back at reset, put it back at spawn point. And eventually, over time, it will progress to the same thing it is because it is all about power. So... for us individually, why not just treat the government as a constant? Because it takes 10% of the effort to figure out how to maneuver your way through all the bullshit than it does to change the bullshit.
Well, I don't think any of us are trying to change it. In fact, I think on this podcast, I've advocated for just living your life well and just kind of opting out of it.
I'm not attacking you, not saying you're not.
But
defend us, Jason.
I'm just saying I think that's the best thing you can do. Like, I'm not going to vote anymore because I think it's immoral and
she said
pointless.
something about that, right? In this one, or is it another book? Not voting is a vote.
Does she say that?
I don't think she says it in
reading
this.
another book, so I don't know. I might get the two mixed up.
Yeah, you're Randy.
She says it in another. Ah! No!
It just sounds like you're calling him Iranian. You're an Iranian.
He's Randian.
She says in another book. Not voting is a vote. It means that I don't vote for any of this.
Yeah,
that's right.
I've never
All bull
voted.
crap.
Yeah. And that's something we've said before too, is, the best thing you could do is to stop voting, start leading yourself.
Yeah. I would love to
Stop
see
playing the
zero
game.
votes on the stupid.
How-
They'll lie to us.
Like,
but
that's how you maneuver through the government. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's how you take control back, because they're all counting on us to go out and play the game with them.
Yeah.
If we
Well,
stop
that's-
playing the game,
Yeah.
then we've quit giving them their power.
Yep.
Yeah, and like you said, you see zero votes on there, that takes their legitimacy away. It's not like,
Would we ever see it? Would we ever see it?
No, but we may know. It's kind of the same way now. I'm trying to think of an example where they just put stuff out and everybody's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, if the mass majority of the country doesn't vote, and then they show that the mass majority of the country voted, we're all going to be like, wait, I didn't
Did
vote.
you vote? Yeah.
Like, wait a second. Like, everybody I know didn't vote this year. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and it would be a big thing, and we would figure it out. It'd be awesome, but it's not going to happen anytime
So then we
Yeah.
just worked our way into feudalism.
I
I
don't
don't mean to
really-
be miserable there.
I need to know.
But the people... You need to go?
No, I need to know what the definition of that is.
I was gonna
so
ask the same
kings
thing.
and queens emerged from
Oh,
there,
yeah.
and nobody gives a crap. We've all been threatened by the force of sword to show up and applaud. How's that any different if nobody's voting? I show up, I pay my taxes, I show up. Don't break any laws because I don't want to go to jail. All the while not believing in the gods and goddesses that are put before me. It's feudalism.
But that's,
Well,
what
we're
this
doing
already
now,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
But we're just playing a game, acting like we have
Well,
control over
I'm
them.
sorry, I'm playing devil's advocate, so stop voting. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
The facade will continue.
And it's all stupid, too, and it drives me crazy because I followed the news pretty closely when Obama was first elected, and everybody was like, oh man, all this pork barrel spending, these stimulus packages, we're
Pork
going
barrel. I'm
like-
sorry, go into that.
Yeah, it was. I don't know exactly what it meant, but it was like earmarking stuff. So like they passed this huge spending bill. I remember watching this crap on Fox News, and every night they would go, "Okay, there's whatever $100,000 earmarked in this for a study to figure out if fish can be lesbians." It was stuff that ridiculous. And then they would go through it, and there was so much crap in this bill that they would pass the budget, and they put all this junk in there, and they would
Okay.
earmark it for
Like
it.
the
Right?
sexual habits of quails
Yes.
on cocaine.
Yes, just ridiculous
Wow.
crap.
I never heard of this.
Well, and
Me
it's
neither.
because
so politically
and it's because they're paying people that supported them. Like they're giving this money, they're giving it back to them, whatever.
just disguising the money.
But I was all over Fox News. It was, oh, look how evil the Democrats are. They're doing this. They're running the deficit up. Okay, got it. And then Trump comes along, and what did he just do? He just passed a bigger spending bill with all this crap in it.
Yeah.
Like, so one of the things we were talking about today
Yeah.
is you can't buy tobacco products unless you're 21.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
No tobacco products at all.
That can
Vapes
pass?
included.
Like it's law?
It's passed. It's a law. But here's what happens. What I believe, the FDA, it's going to take them like 180 days to go over the new regulations, and then they have 90 days to implement the new regulations. So
yeah.
it'll be about 9 months out before it really goes into effect. But
Yeah, but the wider point I was making is you've got one side over here, another side over here. They both think they can change this stupid crap that we're dealing with, and they aren't thinking about what's actually happening, because one side can do something and it's evil, the other side can do something and it's good. They're just basing it on, do I have an R&D in front of my name, and who's saying it? Do they have an R&D in front of their name?
Yeah, and they're doing the same exact things.
Yeah,
over and
it's
over
the same
and
stuff.
Wasn't there a report in this book where she talked about that the businessmen are the biggest compromisers? Or am I getting that mixed up again?
It may have been, man. probably don't remember everything.
She talks about the businessmen.
I think I might know more about this book than you guys, and I didn't even read it.
They keep running to the very source of their own oppression, thinking that they can, like, basically negotiate with the devil, but in the long run, it just is their own demise.
Right.
Because they're compromising.
Well, what she was saying was compromising is not something that... If you're compromising with evil, you've lost.
Yeah. Because
eventually it will win. You can't taint good. If you've done that, then it's no longer good with terrorists.
You do have to be consistent.
Right. And if you're giving in to any type of evil, you're no longer good.
Yeah. 1% of evil is still 1%.
Yeah, and you've become gray.
A little leaven
at that point.
A whole lump.
Oh wow.
I was just saying
Way to take a truth out of that book of lies.
There's a lot of truths in there.
That's exactly how they get put over on everybody. Inject just enough truth to get everybody to believe the rest of the lies.
But you were just saying earlier that you can only take 20% of what anybody says anyway.
You're exactly right, but that's personal rule. So if I take 20% of the Bible, 20% of Buddhism, 20% of Rand, 20% of Nietzsche, 20% of blah, 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 blah,
well,
I effectively nullify all the other bullshit that's in there. I mean, you're not going to get me on this one because the greatest living person of all time, Bruce Lee, already said it. No Tao is Tao. No Tao is Tao. However you pronounce that fucking Chinese word.
I don't know. You're going to have to explain that.
No way is way. Meaning basically you got to live your life and you take what works for you and you discard what doesn't.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right. I feel that was a little personal affrontery there.
Well, it was only because y'all were talking about books earlier, and Caleb said something like, I don't know, something about, and you were like, that book has nothing in it or something like that.
Yeah, you said the Bible has no weight to it.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, well, I'm just being facetious. Jason, come on, get with the time.
How do I know?
Oh, you know. We've been friends. This is ridiculousness.
Listen, we need to, before we finish talking about this, I thought one of the most interesting chapters was the one on racism.
Well, yeah.
And I think that...
It blows my mind this woman was against racism and for abortion rights, and she never caught on. Never.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I know, isn't that crazy? Like the pinnacle of feminism. I should be able to choose what comes out of my body when, no matter how many chads I fuck.
It's always a chad.
It is a chad. I mean, go with internet terminology here. And then against racism, and she is never. I guarantee you could walk in. You guys already know where I'm going. You could poll those groups, and they wouldn't know anything about this woman. Nothing.
Like I'm going
to read work.
I'm going to read.
Because she says you need to work.
Yeah, you need to take care of yourself. Yeah. This one I thought was interesting how she defined it. Like, I mean, there's stuff before and after it, but she says the respectable family that supports worthless relatives or covers up their crimes in order to protect family name, as if moral stature of one man could be damaged by the actions of another. It's hard to read around this microphone.
Get it out of your face.
I can't. You can't hear me. The bum who boasts that his great-grandfather was an empire builder, or the small-town spinster who boasts that her maternal great-uncle was a state senator and her third cousin gave a concert at Carnegie Hall. As if the achievements of one man could rub off on the mediocrity of another. The parents who search genealogical trees in order to evaluate their prospective son-in-law. The celebrity who starts his autobiography with a detailed account of his family history. All of these are samples of racism. I don't know what this word means. The atavistic manifestations of a doctrine whose full expression is the tribal warfare of prehistorical savages, the wholesale slaughter of the Nazi Germany, the atrocities of today's so-called newly emerging nations. I get what she's saying. Like, that's the same logic as racism, yeah. I guess. But, like, I just feel like that chapter alone runs so counter to what the left is doing now. Like, oh my gosh, I just lost it. I mean, it is. I mean,
it's your product, your environment, completely and totally.
Anybody that thinks realizes that affirmative action is racism.
Oh yeah, except kind of for stuff. The groups that benefit from it.
Or even the way that they now, like, if you're black, you're not. Like, you're ostracized.
African American on the podcast?
I mean, maybe.
I'm just messing with you. I don't know.
I think black's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Americans have a darker palate. They're technically not even African Americans.
That's true. So,
I don't know
but
if that was less racist,
but they act like if a black person votes for Trump, that they're not
Uncle
black.
Tom.
Yeah,
He's Uncle Tom.
it's just so crazy how racist they are, because they're saying, "Oh no, you're of that descent. You have to think like this."
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
Politics is such a sham. Like
It's insane.
tagging on to hers, I cannot stand it. Like I cannot stand it to the extent that I almost feel like I'm betraying myself every time I go out in public. Like I've got student loans, and at work, there's a candidate. I don't even know what her name is. It's not Bernie Sanders. She's a female, and she's talking about
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Kamala
There's
Harris.
a
I
lot
want to
of
say
them.
Elizabeth something.
Elizabeth Warren.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And we're sitting around at work, and they're talking politics and talking about Elizabeth Warren, and they look at me because they know I have a little bit of. They don't know the exact amount, but they know I have student loans. Well, you're voting for her, right?
No.
I signed on the dotted line. It's my responsibility.
Right.
And you should see their faces. What? How dare he take some personal responsibility for his status in life?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
Wow.
It's just a vote for trying to get the most benefits for yourself. And what's crazy is that usually the people that are getting the most benefits are usually the most worthless. Always, not always, but
Well, it doesn't help you. Even if you're not worthless, being handed everything doesn't help you.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, like the welfare programs and all that crap. Like they may be benefiting, but in the long run, it's hurting.
Yeah.
They're damning. I mean, they
Yeah.
literally destroy you because you're never going to be able to pick yourself up and do
Yeah,
anything.
no.
And you don't have any self-esteem.
You're handicapping
Right.
an entire group
Yeah.
of people,
Yeah,
which is crazy. And then,
You know,
Do you think it's by design?
I do.
Yeah.
oh,
Of
for
course.
sure.
I think it's.
no
I
joke.
think the racism that they want to try to call out. That's where it is.
All right. There you have it.
There you have it, folks.
Oh, that's what we're ending on.
No, we're not
No.
ending.
Oh, okay.
We're
I
not
was gonna
ending.
say,
It's not over.
wow. Just go ahead and not post this.
No, we're not ending yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta refresh my drink. It's taking a while.
All right. Hey, while you're in there, refresh me, sir.
Why don't you grab
you
me a
have?
cup of water?
I had a bullet bourbon and Coke.
Well, bourbon and Coke. I'll make
Yes,
it
sir.
extra strong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think when he gets back, I want to ask him if he thinks the Earth is flat or round.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Caleb.
I'm starting to entertain the idea that it could be flat.
Caleb. What's wrong with you?
All I know is I don't know how many pigeons are out there for sure.
I mean,
I'm telling you that.
I watched. Well, I'll talk about this when he gets in here, but I just like to really entertain any idea, you know. And I kind of put that one off for a while because it seems so ludicrous. But I've been like, if a video pops up or something, I'll watch it instead of just being like, "This is fucking stupid." And I don't think the Earth is flat, but I'm gonna tell him that. But some of the things are very interesting, and I think, you know, obviously NASA and all the space agencies have been lying to us about all kinds of stuff for forever.
I can get behind
And
that.
I want to look this up. I feel like this is probably not true, but I saw something in one of those videos that said that NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
Wow.
If that's true,
I think I saw that too.
Yeah, and it's like, I hope it's not true almost, because that's just like, really, guys? If it is, like, oh, okay, really? Like, it's just that you're just
Listen, why?
putting it in our
I've
faces.
been wondering. I see so many people in NASA shirts. Like, what makes you go buy a NASA shirt?
I used to have one when I was a kid.
Did
Well,
you?
we went to Mobile.
Yeah, like
They
Huntsville.
sell them in the mall now.
Huntsville.
I get if you went to
Is it-
NASA.
I thought it was in Mobile.
No. Huntsville,
Huntsville. Okay,
Alabama,
Alabama.
is where the space center is. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and they have like little, you know,
yeah.
it's like a museum, but they
NASA's
do some
cool.
stuff.
Like if you
Especially as a kid.
I get
listen,
But that's
space is cool. NASA's
it.
cool.
If it exists, yeah. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, like the way they portray it. Of course,
he's being paid by NASA.
Yeah.
of
I'm
course,
sure he
people
is.
are gonna buy NASA shirts, dude. Like they're
No,
they're
I'll give
the
you, like,
coolest. Like they were the coolest
Especially
government
because of things like
organization.
Star Wars,
For
and,
sure.
Star Trek, and all that.
So
Like,
if you,
space
how
is
does
so
Star
crazy.
Wars
I
translate
appreciate it.
into having a NASA shirt?
Because it's real life. So
Space.
it's the possibility of real life space travel. It's, you know what I mean? It's bringing that fantasy to the real world. So I think it kind of connects people. Okay, I have a question for you, St. Clair.
Why me, dude? You ganging
Because
up on me.
you're the guest here. You're not here all the time. I need to ask you
We've
this
already
question.
established that I'm a
We've
closet
talked
racist.
about
Where we
this
go next? I'm a sexist.
No, it has nothing to do with it.
Well, we'll get into
You're
that.
not
in a
even
minute.
a closet sexist.
Yeah, you're pretty open about that.
Yeah.
Next.
No, I'm
So,
not.
So, what, you know.
how do you feel about the possibility that the Earth is flat?
That's not even that. This is how I feel about it. It's not even worth discussion.
Okay.
I agree.
Well,
Here we
Not
go.
worth
let me ask
discussion.
you.
No,
What
okay,
is not worth
That, yeah, that
What
seems
are they
insane.
saying?
That
Bullshit.
seems insane to me. I don't know who these two people are.
Lunacy. It's not worth talking about.
Is it? Let me ask you a
There's
question.
nothing.
Let me ask you a
These
question.
people are so
Let me ask
brainwashed
you a
by our
question.
government. It's insane.
Since the discovery,
Status. I've been saying
discovery
it.
of germs, bacteria, disease, is it worth discussion over whether or not you should use dirty needles? No. It's very apparent what the right choice is. That's how clear cut flat Earth versus spherical Earth is. But these motherfuckers,
Not even close.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you Bigfoot alien loving motherfucker.
Okay, so you've been in outer space.
Can't say that I have.
You've seen the curvature of the Earth from outer space.
I have from the ocean.
You've seen the curvature from the ocean.
If that's a very basic argument. Were
Were you looking through a porthole?
Observation they made 4,000 years ago in Greece, ancient Greece. That's how predated these motherfuckers' minds are. Go out to the ocean, watch a ship sail away from you. If it is flat, it will just continually shrink in size. But if you actually watch it from the ocean, from the shore, whatever it be, it will not only shrink, but you will lose sight of it slowly. As far as, oh, there goes the hull, there goes the first pit of the mast, there goes half of the sail. That's the curvature of the Earth.
Haven't they done
round.
something with lasers, Caleb? Haven't they?
I'm pretty sure that there's stuff now coming out about flat earthers trying to prove their own theory, and they... because the results are otherwise.
No, like first
Yes.
off, I don't think the Earth is flat. But I do think all the space organizations have been lying to us about mostly everything ever since they were started. The reason that I brought this up is just like the other day I was watching. I used to argue with Ethan a lot about it, and he doesn't believe the Earth is flat either. He just loves to argue that it is. But we used to.
I can relate.
But I'll forget that, and I'll think he's being serious, and he pisses me off. But so I was watching, like, SpaceX did a launch the other day, sending a rocket to the International Space Station for resupplying. Right. This is like their 13th or 14th mission doing this. It was all like live streamed. They had cameras on the rockets and showing the launch and everything. So I'm watching it on Facebook, and I'm like, this is really cool, you know? And I'm seeing the beautiful curvature of the Earth. And I was like, I can't wait to send this to Ethan and be like, look at this, you idiot. Like, you know, this is a rocket up above the Earth, and the Earth is round, obviously. It's got multiple camera angles on the rocket, like from different, mounted on different sides of the rocket. One of the cameras, the Earth is flat, straight across, no curve at all. The other camera, it's curved. And I was like, well, that's fucking weird. Maybe it's just like... And then I was like, but hold up. How would that happen when these cameras are the same distance away from the Earth? They're just on opposite sides of the rocket. I look at the camera that has the curve of the Earth, right? And in the top left corner of the frame, it's missing. It's a fisheye lens. So that part, and it's the exact same curve as the curve in the Earth. The other camera is a full frame, non-fisheye lens, and it's a straight line. And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying the Earth is flat, but I want someone who's smarter than me to fucking explain that. Why is one camera that's a regular camera showing the Earth from the same distance flat, but another camera that's manipulating everything because it's a fisheye lens, it's not even showing the full frame because it's cutting it out as it curves the frame, is showing that it looks like a normal curvature of the Earth, like you would think the Earth would look like from that distance.
That's very interesting.
I don't know.
The another video, the guy, the Red Bull guy who did the skydiving from outer space.
Yeah.
I watched that just to get because I knew I would see the curve because he goes up there. He's using a fucking fisheye lens.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, a fisheye lens is like what a lot of skateboarders use, right? Like,
yeah, that's why I asked if you were looking through a porthole.
Yeah, it makes the magnification of it bends the images of everything. Okay. So you get the corners of the frame are usually not there because it's like it turns the frame into a circle almost instead of just a normal square, right? Why are they using fisheye lenses when they go into outer space to film the Earth?
Why are you reading this instead of the book that we agreed on?
Because I think that
fantastic question.
I think that if the Earth is flat, and that is a fact, that is much more serious of a thing than anything in any book that's ever been written.
Oh, wow. Way to open up a can of worms.
And I'm just, how does anyone not fucking agree with that?
I don't agree with that, sir.
If we have all been tricked into thinking the Earth is round and it's not, how is that not the most crazy and important thing that could ever happen to humanity?
Okay. I'll give you right here. You go your entire life. We're twins separated at birth, and you go your entire life believing that the Earth is flat. I go my entire life believing that the Earth is round. Not a lot changes in our entire lifetime, other than the actual problems, the real problems we face from day to day that are a result of stupid government laws.
Yes, but you have to understand that, like, if the reason for these stupid government laws is because these governments are controlling everything, and that would be the tippy top of what the horrible things they're doing.
It's not tippy top.
What is the tippy top?
It's not tippy top.
What is the tippy top?
Tippy top is that every time I go to work, $2 out of 10 are taken out of my pocket to feed somebody that I don't think should be fed. That's a real problem. Right. That's taken away from my life.
Yo, baby, who's been crying in the background this whole time.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know what's going on.
It's fine.
I told you to stay here. You could have shoved it up in that room up there.
Obviously, he's not sleeping here.
Is he up in the room?
I don't know where he's
Why wouldn't they put him up in the room?
I
don't know what is going on in their heads.
Oh, wow. If I'm a closet racist, he's a closet sexist for that comment right there. Their heads, referring to them as a group.
I think we're all open sexist.
Yes, and the ones in the other room. I didn't mean Elizabeth Warren's head.
No, she's on some stranger shit.
Yeah, like claiming to be a Native American.
I think the Earth is bigger than we think. Not than we think, but I think it's bigger than people who are flat earthers think. We're not going far enough out to see the curvature. I may be just a complete idiot.
We can't get far enough out to see.
But here's my thing, right? Like, here's the weird things about some of the NASA stuff, right? We haven't left the Earth's orbit since we claimed that we went to the moon. And we may have went to the moon. I'm not going to sit here and say we didn't.
They don't have the technology anymore, and it would be too difficult to get it back.
That is what they say, which is very interesting.
They don't have any of the data from the moon landing either. It's either been destroyed or they just don't know where it is.
Maybe there was something on that dark side.
And the fact,
talk about something for go ahead.
Well, just the fact that we haven't left the Earth's orbit, we haven't gone into outer space, like out of the Earth's orbit space, since they said we did that, and so
it's because they figured out that we couldn't.
It's very possible. It's very possible. That's weird to me, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go further out? Now, you know, they tell us all the time they've sent probes out and all sorts of shit out, but why wouldn't you send a man out there? Why wouldn't you just to bust through the Earth's orbit just for a minute and then come back? You know what I mean?
Listen, okay, maybe we don't know if it's round, if it's flat, whatever. Can we all agree that the moon is fake?
I mean,
can we at least agree on that?
Possibly.
I mean, okay, do you realize that the going story, Josh pointed this out to me. I didn't realize this. I didn't ever even really think about this, but you hear dark side of the moon, so we only see one side of the moon all the time. Do you realize what would have to happen for that to happen? So we
discussed this the other day with my father.
Yeah. My dad's a pretty big advocate of
he's not a real mooner, is he?
No, he's a real mooner, and he can explain to you why. You only see one side.
I mean,
it's very
why,
convincing too.
It's going like this, but what are the chances? That's crazy.
But that's kind of like saying, what are the chances of a ever-expanding universe with an infinite amount of galaxies and stars and planets.
But you don't see that
More
every
like the
day.
Earth being flat.
But what I'm saying is it's just as unlikely.
Well, my dad attributes it to God designed it that way. That's why it does
I
that.
understand, but why would he design it that way as opposed to another way?
Because this way works.
But the other way would work if it was just spinning the other way. Like, why
Maybe
is that?
not. Maybe it would cause floods.
It
Maybe
wouldn't
the
work
ocean
because
would.
then we would see
But
the
we're going back
stations
to
on the
this
dark side
because-
of the moon.
Yeah, that's
lunar
right. Now
stations.
we're getting into it.
Wait, what
Caleb.
did you just say?
Yeah,
Thank
there's
you.
all kinds of.
We've all
lunar stations on
agreed,
the,
and we're
dark side
sure
of the
you
moon.
agree too.
The
There's
moon
actually
isn't.
glass
The
doors
moon
is
on
isn't
the
fake.
moon.
real. It's fake.
I don't.
I don't think it's fake, but I think it's flat too. Okay, here's one. Here's one weird thing about the moon,
How
right?
did we? You know what?
Like you can go out and look at the moon, and you can see the craters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can stand there and look up and see the craters in the moon, and they're perfect circles, all of them. Every crater on the moon is a perfect circle.
Okay.
There is not a single crater on the moon that you can see that is a grooved hit. Apparently, they're claiming that every fucking meteor, asteroid, whatever has hit the moon to make those comes straight down at a 90-degree angle every single time. Because it always makes a perfect straight down indentation. There's never been one come at an angle ever in the history of the moon.
Why is that?
I'm not sure you whispered that loud enough to be heard.
Isn't that kind of weird though?
No.
Why isn't that weird, Dave?
Why isn't that
I'm
weird? That's
sorry,
weirder
John.
than the thing I said.
I just.
It's just
This is-
because
this
it's
is-
too far out of your brain
It's just
capacity to
not
think about it.
interesting.
I think what St. Clair is trying to say here is that
It doesn't affect
Yeah, it
his
doesn't
life.
matter. Yeah, I get that.
it doesn't matter in the day to day,
We have problems.
and so therefore there's no
We had
point in
problems
listening
before
to
you
it.
entered the building because you didn't read the book. How did you not know I was not going to show up and talk about that?
About the book?
About you not reading the book.
No, I knew. I was waiting on it. I was planning on just disagreeing with everything you said anyway, so I was like, I don't need to read the book. I'm just going to be like, nah, that's wrong.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I don't know what's changed.
The real question is, if you had to fight a gorilla or a shark,
Jason's had one too many shots if he's delving into this
I
material.
have not. That was
Actually,
one of the
you know
best
what?
moments
You're
of my
showing
life.
your ass, sir, because there was that article.
My ass.
There, who showed who?
There was an
texted me
article
that?
about this.
I didn't take a side. I just enjoyed the argument.
You sent the article though.
Yes, I know, because I
think
enjoyed
John-
the argument.
And I'm pretty sure John was wrong.
I don't think so. It was one of you three arguing back and forth. Me and John were just watching.
John is another
Did you
friend
just
of
say to
ours
yourself,
that
me and John were watching. Is John
I was
ever the
no.
watcher?
I'm
And
sure
he's
that
like,
we were throwing stuff out like to make it worse, but like
John and St.
What are
Clair
you
had an
guys?
argument at one point
That is
about
exactly how it went.
really, maybe
about
it was
it was a shark and a what now? A gorilla?
gorilla.
Okay. Whether a shark or a gorilla, who would win in a fight? I don't remember what side each person
Or which
was on.
one you could fend off?
Yeah. Well, we can figure it out easily. St. Clair.
It's a shark.
100%.
Okay,
so
so
you'd
it
rather
was-
fight a shark.
You,
than a
was-
gorilla.
okay, it
you
was
could survive
okay,
against.
exactly. So it was
What would you
a
rather
human
fight?
being versus which
Yeah,
one?
and
Who
he
would
was
you
poking
rather
fun at
fight?
me because he thought shark was stupid. Lo and behold,
He wanted to fight a gorilla.
I don't know if he wanted to
See,
fight a gorilla other than the fact that
this story's
made fun of me about
controversial,
The fact
'cause
that
I
I
have
had
a
thought
different
about
memory.
which one I could fend off.
Memory is a fickle thing. What
What'd
do
you
you
say?
remember?
My memory is that this Daniel right here had a strong stance that fighting a gorilla
I remember that
would
he
be
had a
way
strong
easier
stance.
than fighting a shark. He
had a
defended
strong
it tooth
stance.
and nail.
I almost-
that he could take out a
I
gorilla.
almost
For
just
the
said
listener, that's the
Daniel
long
Silverback.
blonde Daniel.
I almost
Not the short.
I almost just
Daniel.
said Daniel, you had a strong stance on this.
He did.
Now John may have started.
I think
that
the
sounds
whole-
like something John would do.
It was. I think John proposed the question,
yeah.
and then he jumped on. Oh, a gorilla, 100% would be way
Yeah,
easier.
and then-
Put me in a octagon with a gorilla. I swear those words came out of his mouth. And I'm like, it's gonna rip you to shreds.
My
You
whole
take
thing
the
was
shark every single
if
time.
I can get his back, I got
No, no. You get on his
If I
back
could
and
just-
it's like,
if
oh,
I could
what is
just
this?
get his
One
back.
of my kids hanging
And
on?
then somebody in the
Like-
might have been hit, just punch him real hard in the nose one time. That
That's
shark will
the
take off.
technique.
It works every time. It saves so many people's lives in the ocean when
And
they're
you
being
said
attacked
you were
by
gonna
sharks.
disagree with me on everything.
I love you, dude. I agree on you with lots of things. Yeah, no.
If I can get my arms around a gorilla's neck and put him in a rear naked choke, he's done.
It's going to do nothing
Let me
to
tell you
it.
what's going to happen.
He's
That's
done.
going to be
Do
that much
nothing.
faster that you get your face gnawed off.
Done. He'll be out in 10 seconds.
His arms are going to grab your arm,
We got to wrap
break
this
it in
up.
half, and then
It's
kill
10:30.
you.
How long have we been casting?
It's only been an hour and 30 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground.
A lot of ground.
Done
Done a lot of good work here.
Done some
today.
good work
A lot of
tonight.
good work. The discussion point. Caleb.
Listen, we've done a lot of good work tonight. Okay?
Have we?
We have done a lot of good work.
Do you think if we did this every other night we did this and just said whatever came into our heads, you think it'd be successful?
I don't know. Why don't you guys tell us?
Who? Me?
The listeners.
Yeah,
Oh,
All three of you.
All three of you. Tell us what you think.
all the relatives.
Yeah, everybody we're related to.
I think if we did that, we would be banned from YouTube and Spotify and
For
everything
sure.
we posted it
Joe
on.
Rogan isn't saying anything like this.
He's a pussy.
He's in the
I'll
pocket
give
of
you
the
that.
CIA, according to Austin, right?
Just according to the facts.
Has been for a long time. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a good guest every now and then.
He publicly said, he was on one of his podcasts and he said, listen, government, if you'll just tell me what's going on with aliens, I'll do whatever you want to do. He literally said that. You can find it.
And then stopped believing in aliens shortly afterwards.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, unless, what's his name, that astrophysicist that he wants to climb into his ass.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. Yep.
That guy's intolerable.
Yeah. Joe loves him.
Speaking of affirmative action.
I mean, I think
also
that
I got-
a
wait,
sexual
wait.
predator.
Wait. To my credit, the man has no notable achievements to his name.
Yeah,
no
he's just-
distinguished papers, no discoveries whatsoever, other than the fact that he shows up and it's got his voice.
his voice sounds great.
It does sound great, and I'm not saying
He's
I
like
don't want him
the
to narrate
scientist
every
version of
space
Morgan
documentary, but the man shows up and cuts Rogan off every 15 seconds, and he's a great dictionary or encyclopedia. The man he's made a discovery. He's not a good scientist. He's a good parrot.
I don't disagree.
Kind of like Bill Nye.
Bill Nye is even more of a joke. The man's
Well, yeah, he's not a
bachelor's in
scientist.
chemical engineering.
He's a comedian.
He's a propagandist.
He's a comedian.
He's a propagandist. Did you guys see the couple episodes that I only saw one episode before I almost put a foot through my TV, where he came back and his very first couple of episodes was about the gender spectrum. And
Yes.
Bill Nye.
Yeah, no,
Don't
he's-
even.
Wasn't there some
you
kind of
just-
weird
he
dance
Go
or
just-
head
something?
first into the liberal
Just show me
pool.
that big government dildo that's up your ass right now. My God, could you even be more blatant? That guy's a joke.
I used to love Bill Nye when I was a kid.
Well,
though,
yeah,
man.
when
he
you're a
taught
kid.
me some great stuff.
He didn't watch that.
When you grow up and realize he's a schmuck.
Not a scientist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
way to just lie to me my whole life. Thanks.
I think he was cluing us off with it when he included that big ass rat.
What?
Bill Nye the Science Guy, and there was a big ass rat on a couple of his. You guys don't remember the big ass rat? Am I making stuff up?
You may be there.
I think you're making it up.
Somebody Google it. The big ass rat.
Is that what it was called? Bill Nye the Science Guy and the Big Ass Rat.
That's what he should have called himself. Squeaker? Maybe I'm confusing that with a different show.
Squeaker? You're thinking of Pinky and the Brain.
No, it wasn't a cartoon. It was some dude dressed up in an actual
Sarcasm.
rat costume. Jason.
I don't know. Where'd Daniel go?
You know, you make fun of him for draining his bladder.
He gets up every time. He's gone 4 or 5 times to go to the bathroom.
I've never once peed
Oh,
during
I'm
a
confused.
podcast.
No!
Beekman's World. I was confusing my shows.
These last 2 hours tops. We never even go that long. Look who's back.
We've been waiting on you in silence.
We just stopped talking. We were like, we're gonna wait.
Told your wife I was glad she shut that baby up, finally.
Tell me, the most stressful vacation I've had in a long time.
This has been?
Yes.
Why?
I'd rather brave the beaches of Normandy than listen to a child cry. Cut that into a one-liner.
Should be on a t-shirt.
Listen, we've talked about that. We need to make him his own t-shirt line.
Yeah.
That would not work.
It absolutely
Can you
would.
imagine if that actually got big and people were running around with a one-liner from me and my dad saw that?
Wife, we're leaving.
Yeah.
Just on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
If it was one of the vulgar ones, and
You don't
he's
have to, like,
where did
put
that
your
saying
name on
come
it. Yeah.
from? Well, some guy named Daniel St. Clair.
We won't put your first name.
Yeah, we can make up a fake name for
So maybe people will think your dad actually said it.
So you're saying my sayings are from the 60s and the 70s?
No. No, not at
That's
all.
not at all what you're saying.
That's what I. That's what
we were talking about today how to make people feel like they were actually part of this, and I think the obvious answer is to create
T-shirt.
t-shirts with his sayings on them.
Yes.
No, you can't do that. That's embracing communism. And my sayings are intellectual property.
I think intellectual property is communism, so
I'll give you that. I was just being facetious. There should be no intellectual property.
that's right.
None whatsoever. Property is something you own. Physically. You can't copyright an idea. Are you kidding me?
T-shirts are pretty cheap to make, and I think we should give them away for free. Just really get Daniel's message out there.
My message?
Yeah.
Well, no. You water it down.
No, we're going to put the quote. We're not going to put anything into it.
Yeah, dude.
You'll have people
We're gonna
buying
get it
the
out.
quote going, oh, that quote is edgy without even thinking about what the quote means.
It doesn't matter. We're going to get it out there.
Every shirt on the website will have a description of exactly what you mean.
Yeah, the front will just
With a
be one
booklet.
line. The back will be completely covered with text.
I might be able to get down with that. If you sell it and then let me write like a 5-page essay on each quote for the
That would
website.
be great.
I
I
might.
feel like they'd be expensive to print.
No. You don't have to put the 5-page essay on it, but at least
It comes with it.
we
Yeah,
can do it
that's
like
right.
we can do it like you have to agree to these terms. Put the 5-page essay for each T-shirt.
The problem is, like, Caleb will have all kinds of t-shirts. He'll never read the essay.
But he will read about aliens and flat earthers.
Yeah.
Because that actually is of
He-
more substance to
He
him.
will probably be the guy to show up with some flat earthers are stupid and then argue for flat earthers T-shirt.
I mean, yeah, sure. No, I would do that.
What's wrong with you, man?
I like to have my mind open to any possibility, sir. I will entertain any thought, any concept, any idea.
A whore that has herself open to every dick gets none.
I don't think that's true at all.
There's a t-shirt.
She might get all of it.
I think, yeah,
I
typically,
don't understand that at all.
typically when it comes to guys,
There's
they're
a
willing to throw
t-shirt.
that.
You're right.
Wait. There's a ... Not the ones that matter.
But you said they got
The dicks
Not
that
at all.
matter?
The dicks that matter.
Okay.
You said none at all, though.
Yeah. ...
The ones that matter.
Doesn't have to make sense. We're talking about freaking flat earthers. We're in the total irrational realm at this point. Anything goes. Alice in Wonderland.
I just like to
Down
bring
the
up.
rabbit hole.
I just like
Through
to bring up
looking
the
glass.
topics that I know are going to irritate you the most.
So you're doing to me what Ethan does to you? That's an unjust world.
I mean, who do you think Ethan learned it from?
Yeah, he probably
It
just watched
doesn't
you
really.
guys.
It doesn't really get to me.
Exactly.
Just because I sound intense talking about it doesn't mean that I'm actually upset about it. It's your funeral. That's just me being intense.
That's true. You're an intense person.
Unfortunately.
No, that's good.
That's what we like about you. That's why you're here tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, so that everybody that listens to this can text me, you closet racist.
Well, we're not going to give them your number.
Yeah.
Unless you
And
want
there's
us
only,
to.
and there's
We
only
all
3
know
of them.
that your listeners are people that
And their
know
dad
you.
knows that you're racist. I mean,
Oh, he does.
and then that one subscriber is a racist.
I Speedies.
I don't know.
That's
No,
a
I don't think
comment.
there's another
No,
one.
that's Spiefy,
Who's Speefy?
Ethan.
Oh, hey Ethan.
That wasn't the one I was talking about. Me and Daniel were looking through it the other day, and we were like, that dude's
Wait,
name
comments
is
on your
intense.
comments on your.
No, he's
it was
he's
just
a
a
subscriber, and his
Oh.
name is like, what the fuck are you subscribed to our channel for, dude? Like, oof. How do you still have an account on YouTube with that name?
Yeah.
Like,
Picking up heat, Grand Theft Auto style. You're at 1-2 stars, yeah.
yeah, we were getting there. After this one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Are we done doing work or what's going on?
We've done some good work.
We have.
Have we?
His bar for good work would be so much higher.
That's what
It's something I say
Yeah.
every single time.
Like we would,
no matter what we've
we
done.
would come over here when we couldn't figure out how to get this on the internet. We'd come over here and we'd look at those computers for about 15 minutes, not be able to figure it out, and then sit there and watch YouTube videos. And he'll be like, "We've done some good work today."
We got a lot of good work done tonight.
It's like my
We watched
catchphrase.
YouTube videos. We didn't do anything.
He didn't do any work.
Hey, I think that's some good work.
Fred the Optimist, eh?
Yeah, man.
What you got over there? Want to share with the gang?
Some gum.
And it's whitening.
Look at that.
Looks like it was on sale.
You said that like, man, you're poor. You're buying on sale gum.
The sticker on it looks like a sale sticker.
It was a pretty shitty gas station.
I mean, so what if a man is so frugal with buying gum? I don't understand why that.
Hey, it's fine.
I mean, the price doesn't seem like it's on sale. That seems
It was a
expensive
shady
for
gas
gum.
station.
I think you're rich by paying that much for gum, to be honest with you. So don't listen to him.
Gas station prices. I mean, you're gonna pay.
That's the way it goes.
Damn Arabs.
What the heck?
All right, I think we ought to wrap this up.
Yeah, we can cut that last part out.
You haven't even been drinking. What the hell?
It's called a joke, people. Comedy. Have you ever
Yeah,
heard
we've
of it?
already jumped the shark a long time ago on this one.
No pun
I think
intended.
it's
You
pre-evident I'm
punched
going to
the
lose
shark
my
in the
job.
nose.
And
Well, thank you guys. If we offended anyone, we did our job.
Fuck off.
Y'all have a good night.
I guess.
Later.